Students, last class we have discussed the process of spermatogenesis. Okay, now we are discussing in gametogenesis. What is the meaning of gametogenesis? Formation of gametes, that is known as the gametogenesis. What are gametes? Sperm and ovum is a sperm and ovums are gametes. Okay, sperm is a male gamete, ovum is a female gamete. That process, formation of sperm from the seminiferous tubules inside the testes, we have discussed in the last class. Now we are going to discuss about the formation of ovum, how ovum it is developing inside the ovaries. Okay, that process is known as the oogenesis. Okay, so in this process it is the development of gametes or egg or then ovum, it is occur inside the ovaries. During the fetal development, certain cells in the germinal epithelium of the fetal ovary divide by mitosis and produce millions of egg mother cells or oogonia. Fetal means inside that zygote. It is present in the embryo. That embryo they can develop. So during that time, fetal development, the development it is occur inside the uterus. During that development, certain cells of the germinal epithelium of the fetal ovary divide. Okay, inside the fetus, if maybe it is a male child, they can have in a ovary. That ovary they can divide in the process of mitosis and produce millions of egg mother cells or oogonia. No more oogonia are formed or added after the birth. So during the development of a fetus inside the female body itself, the fetus they can produce the egg mother cells or in a oogonia. Okay, when after the child they can birth, they cannot develop in ovaries. Okay, that oogonia they cannot develop after the birth. So when that fetus it is developing inside the uterus of a mother, that time itself they can produce the millions of egg mother cells or oogonia. Okay, then the eugonial cells starts dividing and enter into prophase 1 of meiotic division to form the primary oocyte. So already a female child they can have in a egg mother cells or oogonia. Then during at the time of a puberty, this process, this changes it is occur inside the female body. The process of oogenesis it is occur inside the female body. How it is occur? So the oogonial cells start dividing and enter into prophase 1 of a meiosis cell division 1. Meiosis nal the reduction division. Gamete formation it is occur in the reproductive organ. So the reproductive units only it is involving in a meiosis cell division. Other body organs it is involving in a mitosis cell division. Okay, so the oogonial cells start dividing and enter into prophase 1. That is the meiosis cell division. It is present number of stages. That stage it is known as, in lower classes have you studied interphase, prophase, anaphase, metaphase, telophase. So like that and all have you studied. Okay, so that cell division it is occur. So the oogonial cells start dividing and enter into prophase 1 of meiotic division 1 to form the primary oocyte. Okay, due to the maturation, that time female body, okay, that female reproductive organ, this oogonia, it is at the time of a birth itself, the female they can have in a oogonia. So that oogonial cells start to divide and enter into the prophase 1 and the meiotic division 1 to form the primary oocyte. Okay, so this process it is arrested temporarily in the, for what? In a child up to the 12 years. The process it is arrested, but when the female child it is going to attain the puberty, that time this primary oocyte it is formed. Then the primary oocyte then gets surrounded by single layer of granulosa cells to form the primordial or primary follicle cells. Then this primary oocyte they can produce the primary follicle cells. That is the single layer of cells. Okay, that cells it is formed. Then a large number of follicles degenerate during the period from birth to the puberty. Then one by one these follicle cells they can degenerate from the birth time to the puberty. So at the puberty only 60,000 to 80,000 follicles are present in each ovary. Are left in inside the ovary it is present. So before it is present in a, for what, millions of egg mother cells they can produce. Okay, after the birth it is arrested. Then that during the developmental stages they can involving in a meiosis cell division 1, in a prophase 1. Then the primary oocyte they can develop. Then the primary oocyte it is surrounded by a single layer of granular cells. That granulosa cells, or then they can produce the primary follicles. Then the primary follicles, for what, a large number of primary follicles they can degenerate. Degenerate என்ன இருக்கிறதுக்கு அப்படியே ஒன்னொன்னா அழிஞ்சுக்கிட்டே போகிறது, டெஸ்ட்ராய் ஆகிட்டே போகிறது. எப்போ இருந்து? from the birth to the puberty. So the time of the puberty, the female body it is contains for what, 60,000 to 80,000 follicle cells are present inside the ovary. Before we have seen millions of oogonia is present. Then the oogonia they can produce the primary oocyte. Then the primary oocyte they can produce the primary follicles. Then the primary follicles they can degenerate. Millions of primary follicles they can degenerate. Only during the puberty it is contained 60,000 to 80,000 follicle cells in each ovary. Okay. Then the primary follicles get surrounded by many layers of granulosa cells. Before that they can have only single layer of granulosa cells. So then after that during the puberty time the granulosa cells it is present in a number of layers to form a for what, covering, protective covering, that is known as the theca layer. That theca layer they can produce the secondary follicles. First primary follicles they can contain, then it is a single layer of granular cells, then it is surrounded by a number of layer of granular cells, then they can produce the secondary follicles. Then a fluid filled space is also it is present, it is surrounded the follicle cells, that is known as the tertiary follicle. That fluid they can develop into the forward tertiary stage, primary stage to secondary, secondary stage into the tertiary stage. Then these theca layers get organized into an inner theca, outer theca, external theca. So inner we are saying inner theca, outer we are saying external theca. So this protective layer it is known as the theca layer. So that theca layer it is differentiated into, before it is present in a together. After the tertiary stage they can differentiated into the inner and then in outer. So inner theca layer interna, outer theca layer it is known as the externa. At the time the primary oocyte within the tertiary follicles grows in size and completes its first meiotic division. So that when the tertiary follicle cells are formed, so the primary oocytes in the along with the tertiary follicle cells they can grow in size and complete the first meiosis cell division. Okay, so completion of first meiosis cell division they can produce the secondary oocytes. Okay, they can produce the secondary oocytes. Then it is an unequal division, not in a equal division, unequal division. Then they can produce single large haploid secondary oocyte and a small first polar body. Okay, after the development of a polar body, the polar bodies also they can degenerate. Okay, then when fertilization it is occur, this secondary oocytes undergo, it is involving in a second meiosis cell division to produce in a large cell that is known as the ovum. Along with the time they can produce the secondary polar bodies. Then the secondary polar bodies also they can degenerate. Then these tertiary follicle cells have become mature to produce a Graafian follicle cells. Then the Graafian follicle cells they can release during that time they can ovum they can come out. Okay, so this sperm they can enter inside the ovum, fertilization they can occur. If fertilization it is not takes place, the second meiosis cell division is not completed. So the egg also they can degenerate, destroyed. Okay, they cannot develop it, they can destroy it. When fertilization it is not happen. At the end of gametogenesis in female, each primary oocyte gives rise to only one haploid ovum. Okay, they can produce only one haploid ovum. Oogenesis. Okay, in the oogenesis, it is in a fetal life, fetus. When the female it is developing. Okay, female it is developing inside the mother. Okay, the female child is developing, that is the fetal life. They can produce the for what, millions of sperm mother cells or oogonia. This sperm mother cells are oogonia. It is diploid in nature. It is involving in a mitosis cell division. Then it is produced in a primary oocyte. Okay, they can produce in a primary oocyte at the time of a puberty. Okay, going to the time, that developmental stage, from the birth to the puberty, the female child they can grow. So that time, this primary oocyte, it is involving in a meiosis cell division. Okay, so that first meiosis cell division, it is involving. So that time they can produce the secondary oocyte and then in a first polar bodies. Okay, secondary oocyte, first polar bodies. Here primary oocyte, it is diploid in nature. Then they can produce in a secondary oocyte, haploid in nature. This polar body they can degenerate. So this secondary oocyte, so that time for what? Gamete formation, it is started, it is begins. The girls, it is attained the puberty stage. Okay, so that time this secondary oocyte they can produce. So this secondary oocyte, it is waiting for the sperm for fertilization process. When sperm it is enter, okay, here this haploid, it is this haploid egg and then in a sperm fused together they can produce. Okay, so in this adult stage, the time after the that puberty time, okay, so this along with this time they can produce the primary follicle, secondary follicle, tertiary follicles, that is surrounded this. Okay, so it is involving, it is allowed for the fertilization process. Okay, so when this Graafian follicles inside the egg it is mature, they can come outside. Okay, they can come outside. That for what? Completion of second meiosis cell division is over. When this completion of second meiosis cell division is over, at the time of fertilization, okay, they can release the ovum. Okay, so that ovum, it is in a haploid in nature. Then they can produce a second polar bodies. This second polar bodies automatically they can degenerate. Fertilization it is occur, they can produce a zygote. Then further development will occur. Okay, fertilization is not occur. So this ovum also they can degenerates. Okay, this ovums also they can degenerate. It is enter into the another new cycle. That cycle is known as the menstrual cycle. Okay, can you understood all of you the process of oogenesis? So here the process of oogenesis, it is occur, it is developed during the fetal stage itself. Okay, during the fetus, when the fetus it is in a female, that fetus they can develop, they can produce the sperm mother cell, that is egg oogonia. Okay, egg mother cell or oogonia, it is developed only in the fetal stage. Okay, then after the birth to the puberty, they can produce the primary oocyte. So millions of oogonia they can develop. So millions of primary oocytes also they can develop. Okay, after that, okay, when it is involving in a meiosis cell division, then this primary oocyte they can degenerate. It is present only the what 60,000 to 80,000 in each ovary of the female. Okay, can you understood child all of you? Okay, the next now we are going to discuss about the structure of ovum. Okay, structure of ovum. So human ovum is a non-ciliatic, alesithal and microscopic in nature. Microscopic, we know that we can see the structure only through the microscope. Non-ciliatic, ciliatic, the egg it is covered by a shell. Okay, calcareous shell, that is non-ciliatic. For example, hen egg, it is covered by a hard calcareous shell. Here non-ciliatic. So human ovum they cannot covered by hard calcareous cell. So we are saying non-ciliatic. Then alesithal. So this division and all we can say alesithal, microlesithal, megalesithal, that is and all depending upon the yolk sac present inside the egg. Okay, but here alesithal, absence of yolk sac. But in hen egg yolk sac is present. அந்த கருன்னு சொல்கிறோம் இல்லையா, மஞ்சள் கருன்னு சொல்கிறோம் இல்லையா, அதுதான் வந்து என்னது yolk sac. That yolk sac it is essential for the development of the egg. Okay, that is giving the nutrition. But here in a human egg it is a alesithal. Yolk sac is absent. Okay, how it is getting the nourishment for this developing embryo? It is producing the placenta. Through the placenta For what? From the mother body, this egg they can get the nourishment. Okay, can you understand all of you? Okay, so human ovum is non-ciliated, alicital and microscopic in nature. Okay, this is the structure of what? Human ovum. Then the cytoplasm present inside the cell, that is known as the ooplasm. In other normal body cell we can say the cytoplasm, but in a egg cell the cytoplasm it is otherwise known as ooplasm. So inside the ooplasm it is present in a large nucleus. This large nucleus it is otherwise known as germinal vesicle. Okay, large nucleus is present. How we are saying the cytoplasm is known as the ooplasm. So like that is this large nucleus, it is known as the germinal vesicle. Then this ovum it is covered by a 3 layers of covering. Okay, 3 layers of covering. A thin transparent membrane, inner layer, that is known as the vitelline membrane. Then middle layer, that is known as the zona pellucida. This outer layer it is known as the corona radiata. So 3 layers it is covered by the ovum. So inner transparent, that is known as the vitelline membrane, and middle thick, that is known as the for what? Zona pellucida. Okay, outer thick, that is known as the corona radiata. This middle vitelline membrane, and then in this zona pellucida, in between the space is present. That space is known as the vitelline space. That vitelline present in a space, that is known as the perivitelline space. Okay, can you understand all of you? This is the structure of human ovum. Follicle cells are surrounded by this ovum. Okay, when it is mature, that time this ovum, this nucleus, they can rupture this layer and come outside. Okay, see this process, how the ovum they can come outside. So this is the ovary. Okay, in either side of right and left side of for what? Cavities. Then abdominal cavities, what is present? This ovaries, pair of ovaries are present. Okay, so ovulation it is occur in the ovaries. So that we are going to discuss about in a menstrual cycle. How the maturation of ovum it is occur, that we are going to discuss now. Okay, menstrual cycle. Okay, before that all of you have understood the process of oogenesis and then in a structure of ovum. Okay. Then out of 1 million eggs women produce during the birth, only about 300 to 400 will ovulate before menopause. So menopause, this menstrual cycle they can stop. That process is known as the menopause. Okay, human body during the birth and then in a developmental stage also they can produce 60,000 to 80,000 millions of eggs, but only 300 to 400 they can involving in the process of ovulate, maturation of ovum they can release from the ovary. That process is known as the ovulation. So only 300 to 400 till the menopause. We can calculate the date age of 12 to up to the age of 45 or 45 to 50. Okay, 45 to 50 during that stage menopause will occur. So up to that time, what? Only 300 to 400 egg they can ovulate. On the other hand, we can see the male produce more than 500 billion sperms in their lifetime. Okay, on ejaculation we have seen 200 millions of sperm. Okay, so like that in a male during its reproductive lifetime they can produce 500 billions of sperms. Okay, but in a female only 300 to 400 ovum or egg. Can you understood all of you? Okay, this and all they will ask in a one more question. The next we are going to discuss about the menstrual cycle.